Avatar Meher Baba ki jai.
Yes.
So, is my screen visible?
Yes, it is. There is a mountain.
The mountain of sanskaras. That's what's visible. Now we can go to, we'll do the full prayer today.
Oh, that's very nice.
So,
Some Baba has heard me because I was thinking of the prayer.
wow. So, the way we'll do it is all three of you can read different parts. So, Ashok, you can start with the universal prayer. Sanjay ji, please do the repentance prayer. And beloved God, beloved prayer, uh, Praveen, you can do. Yeah. All right. Jai Baba. Ashok, over to you.
Praveen can start. I can't see the screen. It's blank for me.
Oh,
It's
God.
infinite God. It's
Okay.
like vast emptiness.
Wow. No, there's something wrong today, right? You also had trouble. Now, can you see it?
Yeah, now I can see.
Yeah,
Yes.
now yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Please start, Ashok.
Okay. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Universal prayer. O Parvardigar,
Pratika.
the preserver and protector of all, you are without beginning and without end, non-dual, beyond comparison, and none can measure you. You are without color, without expression, without form, and without attributes. You are unlimited and unfathomable, beyond imagination and conception, eternal and imperishable. You are indivisible, and none can see you, but with eyes divine, you always were, you always are, and you always will be. You are everywhere, you are in everything, and also, and you are also beyond everywhere and beyond everything. You are in the firmament and in the depths. You are manifest and unmanifest on all planes and beyond all planes. You are in the three worlds and also beyond the three worlds. You are imperceptible and independent. You are the creator, the Lord of Lords, the knower of all minds and hearts. You are omnipotent and omnipresent. You are knowledge infinite, power infinite, and bliss infinite. You are the ocean of knowledge, all knowing, infinitely knowing, the knower of the past, the present, and the future, and you are knowledge itself. You are all merciful and eternally benevolent. You are the soul of souls, the one with infinite attributes. You are the trinity of truth, knowledge, and bliss. You are the source of truth, the ocean of love. You are the ancient one, the highest of the high. You are Prabhu and Parmeshwar. You are the beyond God and the beyond God also. You are Parabrahma, Allah, Ilahi, Yazdan, Ahurmaz, and God the Beloved. You are named Izzat, the only one worthy of worship. Given by Meher Baba on 13th September 1953.
Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. We repent, O God, most merciful, for all our sins, for every thought that was false or unjust or unclean, for every word spoken that ought not to have been spoken, and for every deed done that ought not to have been done. We repent for every deed and word and thought inspired by selfishness, and for every deed and word and thought inspired by hatred. We repent most especially for every lustful thought and every lustful action, for every lie, for all hypocrisy, for every promise given but not fulfilled, and for all slander and backbiting. Most especially also, we repent for every action that has brought ruin to others, for every word and deed that has given others pain, and for every wish that pain should befall others. In your unbounded mercy, we ask you to forgive us, O God, for all these sins committed by us, and to forgive us for our constant failures to think and speak and act according to your will. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai.
अवतार मेहर बाबा कीजिए. Beloved God, help us all to love you more and more and more and more and still yet more until we become worthy of union with you, and help us all to hold fast to Baba's Daman till the very end. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai.
Done. Thank you so much. It was lovely.
Yeah, that's good actually.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we have. Thank you so much, Sanjay ji, for the glow scans. We have the scans we will get to after our reading. Before that, quickly, I'll tell you we finished up to Mind Veils Truth. So if you go to the last one, Sahaj Samadhi, these are the subtopics. We have finished up to Mind Veils Truth. Culmination of
I
meditation.
think we
The,
should redo Karthik again. It's blank. Something. I think something is problem.
yeah. Hmm. Now,
Now visible, yes.
Visible, visible.
what am I doing differently? Maybe I just need a restart of my. Okay, culmination of meditation, Nirvikalpa Samadhi experienced after union. This Nirvikalpa Samadhi, by the way, was the last chapter. Body state, energy state, mind state. Mind veils the truth. That's what we just concluded. Now we will see how we transcend the mind, God state per Nirvikalpa Samadhi, life in eternity. Two states precede the Sahaj Samadhi. Then moksha, nirvana, and nirvikalpa, and then the state of Sadgurus and the avatar. So off we go to the text. Visible still?
Blank. Infinity.
Oh, maybe I'm sharing the wrong thing.
Karthik, I think the Teams has got updated. The Teams.
Now,
Now it's coming.
yeah. I keep it on so it updates automatically. That shouldn't be the. I don't know what's the cause. Anyway, let's start with transcending the mind. Praveen, are you in a position to read or?
No, I think you have disturbance.
Okay. I think I heard it. That's why I asked again. Your sun is up, so good. And also you have a working day today. Jai Baba. Um, yeah, so I maybe I'll start reading first, unless somebody else is ready.
I'll read.
Yeah, please. Transcending mind.
Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Transcending mind. To discard the limiting mind is no easy thing. The chief difficulty is that the mind has to be annihilated through the mind itself. Intense longing for union with the infinite reality as well as infinite patience are indispensable in the process of transcending the mind. One master told his disciple that in order to attain the highest state, he had to be thrown, bound hand and foot to a plank into a river, oof, which he must, where he must keep his garments dry. The disciple could not understand the inner meaning of this injunction. He wandered until he encountered another master and asked him the meaning of the injunction. This master explained that in order to attain God, he had to long intensely for God with him, as if he could not live another moment without it, and yet to have the inexhaustible patience that could wait for billions of years. If there is lack of intense longing for union with God, the mind lapses into its usual sanskaric working, and if there is lack of infinite patience, the very longing that the mind entertains sustains the working of the limited mind. It is only when there is balance between infinite longing and infinite patience that the aspirant can ever hope to pierce through the veil of the limited mind, and the combination of extremes can only come through the grace of a perfect master. I take a pause for any comments because this is very intense paragraph. Lots since being said.
So, if you remember yesterday, Kama was talking about exactly these inexhaustible patience, intense longing, infinite uh, patience. So, I think I had entered this in the acronyms as intense patience. It's not. I mean, not intense patience, infinite patience. So, I think it's inexhaustible patience, intense longing, infinite patience. Yeah.
And it's also that I, the, the trinity of knowledge, bliss, and it's in the prayer. So, I mean, it's also an intersection of everything which we uh, long for, and also there is a example given that if you're in the desert and without water and you long for water, so you got to have that sort of intense longing, as if you want nothing else but Baba and his and union or his and in union with him. Then only you can uh, realize him. There's a example given that it has to be an extreme longing.
Absolutely. So effort is missing here, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, effort is missing. So it's inexhaustible patience and intense longing. The effort part is missing. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Anyway, let's continue.
Yeah, I'm just, I mean, I just went into a little tangent, but anyway, Jai Baba.
Yeah, Baba.
God's state of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. To dwell in Nirvikalpa Samadhi is to dwell in truth consciousness. This God state cannot be grasped by anyone whose mind is still working. It is beyond the mind, for it dawns when the limited mind disappears in final union with the infinite. The soul then knows itself through itself and not through the mind. The worldly individual knows that he is a human being and not a dog. In the same way, in Nirvikal Samadhi, the soul does know that it is God and not a finite thing. The worldly person does not have to keep repeating to himself that he is not a dog but a human being. He just knows without having to make any special effort that he is a human being. In the same way, the soul in Nirvikal Samadhi does not need any artificial inducing of God consciousness through repeated autosuggestions. It just knows itself to be God through effortless intuition. Life in eternity. One who experiences Nirvikalpa Samadhi is established in the knowledge of the soul. This self knowledge does not come and go, it is permanent. In the state of ignorance, the individual soul looks upon itself as a man or woman, as the agent of limited actions and the receiver of joys and pains. In the state of self knowledge, it knows itself as the soul, which is not in any way limited by these things and is untouched by them. Once it knows its true nature, it has this knowledge forever and never again becomes involved in ignorance. I think in the state of self knowledge, that line is pretty intense. I would like to read it again.
Yeah, sure. I was thinking of highlighting the same. Yeah,
Yeah,
please.
you can highlight also. Yes, in the state of self knowledge, it knows itself as soul, as the soul, which is not in any way limited by these things and is untouched by them. Wow. Once it knows its true nature, it has this knowledge forever and never again becomes involved in ignorance. This state of God consciousness is infinite and is characterized by unlimited understanding, purity, love, and happiness. To be in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, which for the rare few leads to Sahaj Samadhi, is the endlessness of life in eternity. Two states precede Sahaj Samadhi. Sahaj Samadhi, or divinity in action, is experienced by the Sadguru and is preceded by two states, nirvana, or absorption in divinity, and nirvikalpa samadhi, or divinity in expression. When the consciousness is drawn entirely from all the bodies and world of creation, it leads to nirvana, or the beyond mind state. But when consciousness again functions through the bodies without attachment or identification, it experiences the nirvikalpa samadhi of the Siddha. Here, though consciousness is attached to the bodies as instruments, it is detached from them inwardly by non identification. The piercing of the mind amounts to the complete withdrawal of consciousness from the universe to its total absorption in God. This is the state where the universe becomes zero. This is nirvana. After nirvana, those who become conscious of the universe experience it has nothing but God and remain constantly in Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Nirvikalpa Samadhi means a life where the mental activity of false imagination has come to an end and the oscillations of the limited mind are stilled in the realization of the unchangeable truth. I take a pause here if there are any comments or any observations, Kama? The
Jai
next,
Baba, I wanted to. Um, this is again for the audience here. Um, this terminology about nirvana, nirvikalpa samadhi, and sahaja samadhi. So here it says nirvana is absorption in divinity, and then nirvikalpa samadhi, divinity in expression, and sahaja samadhi as
Divinity in
divinity in
action.
action. Correct. Now, I think last time also, I think when Ravi was there, we discussed it. The absorption in divinity, to me, is like a madzub state, right? Because he's not body conscious. He has only God consciousness. He's God conscious. But in the table, we know in 278, God speaks. Nirvikalpa Samadhi has two two types of God realized people. One is the Madzub and one is the Paramahamsa. I used to wonder why both of them are have the state of nirvikalpa samadhi, but then the Paramahamsa is a Majzub Salik or a Salik Majzub, where he is uh,
He alternates.
alternating, alternates
Yeah.
between God consciousness and body consciousness. To me, that seems to be the right word for divinity in expression, Nirvikalpa Samadhi, as for a Paramahamsa. But for a Majzub, absorption in divinity makes sense. And then nirvana is basically the divine absolute vacuum state, which is basically where Baba says consciousness is, but God is not, because it is basically the most original beyond God state, which is state one, when God was unconscious. But when you attain nirvana, you actually are conscious about that divine absolute vacuum state before the whim that happens. And this is the same state that Baba explains that we experience in our sound sleep state. So, for normal human beings, we have said that after we get up from sound sleep state, we feel blissful. So, I thought that nirvana should be a kind of an absorption in bliss all the time, consciously speaking, instead of calling it absorption in divinity, because divinity to me seems to be the God realized state. So there is a little ambiguity in the word, in the way the word reality is used, divinity is used in God speaks also, because later Baba uses the word divinity for the Jivan Mukta and the Sadguru state. So anyway, this is something I would like you guys to have a look whenever you get a chance and tell me what you feel, Jai Baba.
See, semantically, I don't want to tinker with anything Baba has said, but I see the logic in what you're saying. I'm not fighting the logic. Uh, the the but if you change it, then it confuses people as confuses. I mean, I'm talking about myself when we read it in other places. So I think I will stick to what Baba is saying. So divinity in absorption in divinity is nirvana, but I agree with you. It's more closer to that. Is more closer to the beyond state or the where consciousness is and God is not, because Baba has said that. So that can't be absorption. I agree, but
Because
uh, uh,
what you're saying is, what I am more concerned is the definition of reality and divinity. Where does it actually, that is the important aspect, because that these two words are used very much in God Speaks, reality and divinity, when they explain all the different stages. And remember, this word absorption in divinity is not used in God Speaks or anything. This is basically from discourses which were essays given between 1938 to 1942, right? So I just felt that, as we know from Infinite Intelligence, different lectures, all those things were, terminologies were kind of modulated. But anyway, this is not very, it's just a semantic, as you said, an academic discussion. So that,
exactly.
yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, well,
I think over before the next advent, we'll have more crystallization by multiple people thinking and talking about it. For us, I think, at least for the interest of this group and those of us even watching us online, I think just understanding these and not being overawed by it, which is what probably we were 4 or 5 years back. Now, at least we have got to a point where we understand the distinction between these, are able to appreciate these concepts, differentiate between them in our heads. I think that's good enough. A lot more research will go into this to explain and semantically reorganize it. But uh, I think I am not so brave.
We are also not so brave, but we leave the fine tuning, because that's it's like coming to a greater frequency on a radio. So I think we leave it at this and continue. It's a
No,
fair
actually,
call.
the radio switches off. So you are actually tuning into a station that does not exist. That's Nirvana. So if you remember, no, correct, because Nirvana is I think, and I maybe I do, I think maybe even Kama has mentioned this. So there is a concept in Buddhism called shunyata. In fact, that's the end point. So, and Baba has also quoted this saying that Buddha didn't go beyond this, right? So the Sahaj Samadhi and the completion of the Nirvana state and it- the person getting into Sahaj Samadhi is something that's never referred to in Buddhism. So this is a state where I think the best way to understand this is consciousness is and God isn't, right? So the radio actually is not even getting static. There's no noise. There's no noise, no static, no station. That's nirvana. If you use your radio analogy,
Yeah,
I mean it's a crude extension of an analogy, but yeah.
it's crude, but I mean for people to understand
No, no,
what
no. My twisting of your analogy was crude. Your analogy was probably good.
fellow. This is a
Yeah.
we'll proceed.
Please continue. Yes.
Moksha, nirvana, and nirvikalpa. Nirvana and nirvikalpa are similar to the state of moksha, liberation, but only in representing the merging of the individual soul in God and in yielding eternal bliss. Moksha is experienced after the soul has dropped its bodies, while the states of nirvana and nirvikalpa can both be experienced before giving up the bodies. However, though the states of nirvana and nirvikalpa are similar as to retaining the bodies, and though they are also fundamentally the same in essence, there is a difference between the two. When the soul comes out of the ego shell and enters into the infinite life of God, its limited individuality is replaced by unlimited individuality. As the limitations of the individuality are entirely extinguished, the soul knows that it is God conscious and thus preserves its unlimited individuality. Through the unlimited individuality of the soul,
Mhm.
sorry,
Mhm.
though the unlimited individuality
Mhm.
of the soul is in a way retained in the union with the infinite, it nevertheless remains quiescent and absorbed in the experience of self contained divinity that is in the state of nirvana. But when the soul, having entered the infinite life of God, establishes its unlimited individuality through the dynamic release of through the release of dynamic divinity, it is nirvikalpa samadhi.
So dynamic divinity and self-contained divinity, right? So self-contained divinity is state of nirvana. So it has reached the ultimate, but it is still not in action, and it's not. There's no dynamism attached to it. There's in fact hollowness. I think the best it come up perfectly. The best way to describe nirvana is divine absolute vacuum. There's no confusion there, right? Radio is on. There's no sound coming from it. No static. No station. No frequency is matching, right? So divine absolute vacuum. I think that's a better way to describe it than any of these. Praveen, go ahead.
There's a small, actually, for me, these topics are a quite new one. I'm still trying to assimilate them. But I just want to give a small heads up on this, which might help you further understanding. I hope you guys know also this is like Bhagavad said that when Jesus Christ was what we call on the cross, he went into the Nirvikalpa Samadhi state. for 3 days. Then until the time he came back.
Okay.
Am I
Uh,
audible? Uh,
can you get a, yeah, yeah, I heard
yeah, yeah.
you. Can you get a reference for that? Because that, see,
Yeah,
the
I can get
avatar
it. Yeah, I
needs,
can give. I can give you.
yeah, yeah. So because avatar is not in, not even in Nirvikalpa Samadhi state. So it must be
Yeah,
some
yeah.
other state of some. Anyway, just
There is this
we'll take a
website called
reference.
Bhagavad. There's this
Yeah,
website
.net.
called
Yeah,
Bhagavad, right? Yeah, yeah. In
meherbabadhyana.net.
that way,
Yeah,
I can. Yeah, I can share that. It's there in
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I can share that.
Okay, all right.
So I
Good.
was trying to understand what it is, and I couldn't understand properly. That's why I gave it to you so that you guys can explain it in a better way.
Okay, I think share it and then we can take it up.
Sure, sure.
Um, yeah, Ashokji, you can
State
continue
of
if there are no more comments.
state of Sadgurus and the avatar. Such samadhi comes to the very few souls who descend from the seventh plane of consciousness as Sadgurus, while it is the very life of the avatar. The poise and harmony of the state remain undisturbed even while giving energetic response to the changing circumstances of life. Those who are in this state live the life of God and experience God everywhere and in everything. Their God state is therefore in no way diminished when dealing with the things of this world. Whether drawing a bow or using a sword on the battlefield, whether flying in an airplane or talking to people, or whether engaged in other activities that may require the closest attention, they are continuously in the state of conscious enjoyment of the immutable truth. Such is, says Samadhi, the effortless and continuous life of perfection and divinity in action.
So, just to go back to Praveen, so now you see that the avatar is already in this state. So, that's a good reference. I mean, if you find the reference, we should understand what Baba is trying to say in the
So,
crucifixion.
because for the 3 days, probably for the 3 days, Jesus Christ was like for the bodily persons, like everyone thought that he has dropped his body and everything, right? But later on, he
Hmm.
has come out and as Baba explained, he has come back to India, and I think
Kashmir,
his
yeah,
actual place, yeah, Kashmir Hathras.
yeah,
So not Hathras, sorry, it is some hills, Harvan Hills.
third one,
So
yeah.
for 3 days, he was in the state of Nirvikalpa Pasmati. Like probably, uh, I was understanding such a way that he went into that state and made world believe that he is no more in that way probably. Like, but I couldn't understand more than that.
Anyway, you're joining us for the God Speaks journey. There we'll go into this in greater detail in the supplements. And I look forward to getting that reference from you, which I'll put up on the group as well. Yeah. So that finishes the discourse on Sahaj Samadhi, and also all the 8 parts on meditation. Now, we have two things we'd like to continue. I'm not even sure if we can finish both of them in this session. So there is 2 articles that came out on the theme of meditation in the Globe. And Sanjay ji recommended that we read this, and I think it's a good idea. So here it is. So this is from the Globe. For those of you who have already read it, it might be repetitive, but I think it's a good way to learn from what Richard Blum thinks about this. Both articles are by Richard Blum. Yeah. So let's also
Jai
rotate the
Baba,
reading. Yeah.
I I read the Bloom article. It's just a cut and paste of all the 7, 8 parts of, if you just want to kind of summarize that, yeah, you can if you have the time. I'm just giving you my observation. I read that.
Uh-huh.
It's nothing. It is basically, Richard. I know Richard Blum. So he's a good guy. But you can say it can encapsulate, what we have read. So you can
So
definitely
if
go ahead.
it's yeah, if it's a summary, then it's actually good. So I'll tell you what Praveen, you want to talk about your presentation and what you have done till
Actually,
now?
is not more on meditation, but it is on the question that keeps arising into our discussions and minds is that whether Baba has recommended us to meditate. So that analysis is his in own way he has done, at least in part one, which I
Yeah.
liked. He has given his reasons and logics, and he said that, and that said that, and that can give us an insight for us to meditate upon the point that whether we should meditate, at least that way. Yeah, Baba.
Jay Baba, to add on to what Sanjay said, what I've understood about meditation is, like I said, it is like a generic word like yoga, meditation. There are different meditation techniques, which I think we have read that in part 4, part 5, reading as a meditation initially, general meditation and specialized forms of meditation, which has to do with the subjective body, the objective body, and the mind. So these are all different techniques, like I've said, Vipassana, Kriya Yoga, Hatha Yoga, Raja Yoga, and all that. But ultimate meditation is effortless meditation, which is basically self awareness every waking moment, which is basically abiding in Baba all the time, which is basically your own innermost loving self. So, ultimate meditation is self awareness every waking moment. That is the whole idea. Otherwise, all these are just techniques to reach that state because we are the self and we are shedding all these sanskaras by using all these techniques and are able to deal with day to day life. Okay, Baba.
Fair enough. So anyway, the I was asking about Praveen and his efforts. He's done a lot of work on trying to make this visualize this as a summary. But I don't know whether he's free because it's pretty late in Muscat. Praveen, are you in a position to go over that
Uh,
presentation now? Do you want to do it next week? What?
anyway, uh, presentation, I don't think is the right time now.
Okay.
It'll be difficult, but you can put it up. Put it up. We can start discussing on that properly. Where teammates can give me some good ideas, and that further we can improve. But this point
Okay,
on the
then let's
article,
do it offline. Let's do it offline. So when I think share it with the group. I'll put it in the group link as well. Uh, and those of you, including Ashok, who volunteered to work on it, the I'll I don't want to present something that's not uh, completed and we are comfortable. There's a lot of work is done, by the way. Okay. So he has basically
uh,
taken all the 8 parts and created the right visualization. The help we need rather is just confirming if there is any way to refine this and also refine as in so that it's easier to understand and absorb. So if you look at it, the reason why we even started down this path is there are multiple classifications that Baba talks from part 1 to part 8, right? Part 1 to part 6, because part 7, part 8 are very clear. Part 7 and part 8 are very clear. Part 2 through 6, there are multiple classifications and multiple dimensions of classifications that are represented. So it's very confusing to the reader. So we wanted to see how to make it uh, visual and also hence easier to understand and keep in and absorb. So that's the attempt here. So those of you interested, please work with Praveen offline, and when we are ready, we'll make this available to everybody. I think that's a better way. Is that okay, Praveen?
yes, 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 it's okay. And I just wanted
Okay,
to add this comment on the.
go ahead.
Sorry. I wanted to add this comment. Like in today morning, I was actually going through the things you have shared, Glow International and the essay. Both are different or both the same? The essay and the Glow International. I have gone to the essay actually, written by Richard Baum. Uh, I felt that it's really a good recap of entire things what we had gone through all these days, and he has quite. I think he has given his. I I can use we can use that one also as a base to make a presentation in a far easier way. I felt, but
Oh, that's what Kama is
Karthik, if
saying.
you had
Yeah,
also gone through it, if
I
you
have
had
not.
also gone through it, okay, fine.
Yeah, I have not. But Kama also agrees with you entirely. So it's just a recap, which is helpful given that we have covered 8 parts. So without further ado, who's ready to read next?
We can't see the screen, it's blank.
This is just getting on my nerves right now.
Yeah, but I just thought I'll.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, I'm not at you guys. It's just a technology. Is this
No,
Is this showing up?
don't worry and be happy is what Baba said. Yes, now it's
Yeah,
showing
yeah.
up.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So who amongst you is ready, or should I read? Or I'm okay to read as well. Sanjay ji, you want
You
to read?
go ahead. You read. You read.
Okay. Inner development is love. Meher Baba and the practice of meditation, part one. Oh, so the other one is part two. Okay, yeah. So there's part
Actually,
one and part two
part one is in
and
two
part two.
files. Part one is
Yeah.
in two files. And part two.
Part one is in 2 files. No, I thought.
Yeah. No. Part one is in two files. You will see three documents. Anyway, start reading this, and then we can come to next part. It is 6 pages in any case. You start. Yeah.
Yeah, I got all 6 pages in one.
No. There is. It's
Oh
not
yeah,
ended
this
yet.
is
There are two
incomplete.
more pages.
This is incomplete. Yeah,
Incomplete. Yeah.
this is
Because the file
incomplete.
size
So
was big. File size was
yeah,
big.
yeah. Okay. Okay, I'm hoping you'll send the other one because the next file you sent this twice. So you sent this
Let me
one, the
see.
part
Let
two.
me see
Yeah,
by that time.
just
Let me
yeah.
see by
Thank
that
you,
time.
thank you. Yeah, Meher Baba and the practice of meditation, part one. Richard Blum meditates on again. The word is meditates on. Richard Blum meditates on the intrinsic value of practicing meditation, as explained by Avatar Meher Baba, and gives a personal overview. So this is Richard Blum's version. I believe that the most sublime explanations of meditation that the world has ever known are those found in Meher Baba's discourses. What makes them so inspiring is that, unlike other forms of meditation that offer techniques to obtain physical, emotional, or, in quote, spiritual benefits, Baba's explanations solely focus on leading one to knowing and becoming one with God. Each form of meditation which Baba describes is linked to an aspect of his teachings or an attribute of God. Baba's directions guide one through the stages of first intellectual understanding of spiritual truths, then internally experiencing those truths, and ultimately becoming one with God. I'll just read this last part again. So, first is an intellectual understanding of spiritual truths, then internally experiencing those truths, and then ultimately becoming one with God, which is the Sahaj and Nirvikalpa, right?
Karthik, can I suggest you read the whole sentence again, please?
Sure. Baba's directions guide one through the stages of first intellectual understanding of spiritual truths, then internally experiencing those truths, and ultimately becoming one with God. In the discourses, Baba's explanations on meditations are quite extensive. In fact, there are more chapters devoted to meditation than any other subject. Baba also at times directed his mandali to meditate, but those periods never lasted for more than several months, and beyond that, Baba did not emphasize meditation. In fact, he often discouraged it. So, a question arises: does Meher Baba want us to meditate? Many Baba lovers believe that the answer is no. Baba made statements which seem to indicate that is the case. On the other hand, Baba stated numerous times that God resides in everyone. If one wishes to seek him, he indicated that they should look within. And according to Baba, meditation is one of the best means of searching within. And according to, so we have what seems to be a contradiction. At times, Baba discouraged his lovers from meditating, stating that it was a distraction. And there were times in which Baba emphasized meditation, even ordering his mandali, his lovers, and the Premashram boys to meditate. I am particularly interested in this question because I've been meditating since I came to Baba. In fact, one of the reasons I began to read the discourses was to learn how to meditate. Being frugal, I did not want to pay to learn transcendental meditation. That's Mahesh Yogi, and it was a paid program. And since I already had a copy of the discourses, I began to study Baba's explanations on meditation. Even before my first visit to the Meher Spiritual Center in Myrtle Beach, I was meditating according to Baba's explanations, and I have continued to do so for the past 50 years. It is a cornerstone of my relationship with Baba. It is a means by which I daily experience his love and presence. My research attempts to unravel what appears to be Baba's explanations regarding meditation by examining his various statements and orders as well as comments from his mandali. What Meher Baba told Don Stevens. I have often heard it said that Meher Baba does not want his lovers to meditate, and the reason most often cited is a statement Baba gave in response to a question raised by Don Stevens. Don had noticed that in the discourses there were more chapters, 8 to be exact, devoted to meditation more than any other subject, and yet Baba had not given Don a meditation to perform. Wondering why that was, he asked Baba, who responded, I am the avatar, and I must provide for all of the 700 to 1400 years that go by after I drop the body and until I come again. During my manifestation and for some time after I drop my body, the high road of all roads of inner development is love. That road is now fully open to the aspiring seeker during the remainder of the lifetime of the avatar and for some time after and should be used. Eventually, however, the entry will gradually narrow and then the path will finally be accessible only to the very rare seeker. As I must provide for my lovers for the hundreds of years until I come again, it is necessary, therefore, that I make provisions now for their use during that period of time. For this, it will be necessary that they use a secondary route. One of the very best of these is that of meditation, and that is why I have given out these extensive discourses on meditation. Ahem, this is interesting, huh? However, do not mistake me, because meanwhile, during my lifetime and for some time afterwards, it is a distraction and waste of an individual's time and energies to use meditation. He should use all of his force and energies in utilizing this path of love that is fully open to him. So, however, do not mistake me, Baba says, because meanwhile, during my lifetime and for some time afterwards, it is a distraction and waste of an individual's time and energies to use meditation. He should use all of his force and energies in utilizing this path of love that is fully open to him. Powerful and contradictory statements, right?
Kartik, I have a comment to make.
Sure.
Yeah, I actually have been witness to this Don Stevens talk and
Okay.
his question and answer with Meher Baba. What is very the essence of what we just read, all the way to where you stopped. It says everything is in the last sentence. Okay, he should use all his force and energies in utilizing this path of love that is fully open to him. Why Baba says that? He says in this avataric time, particularly after he drops his body 100 years from the time that he drops his body, okay, when he already declared that he is manifesting. What does that mean? Mean he's all available. The path is all open to any aspirant or even anybody who's interested, and so forth. So during this time, it's like a fresh bread in a hot oven is ready for you, okay, to go get it and eat it and enjoy it, rather than sitting down and writing about it. I'm just using this example, it just came to my mind. But what I'm trying to say is we should take advantage of this particular time, as Baba underlines it here, that we should begin to love him and remember him and try to see him in everyone and everybody and everywhere. Okay, even if we imagine, still try doing that. This works 1,000 times more than sitting down in your room and meditating. Another thing, another notion that I have from meditation is that for me, when the mind is either silent or it is slow, I am already meditating. When I cook food and I don't talk, and I am thinking of Baba and I'm doing it for Baba, and everything is so peaceful and joyful, I am meditating in Baba. So it's like meditating and love in action. That's the time we live in. But as Don Stevens said, and Baba said to him, after this time that he's so available, then he's so tired. He's going to go and rest. He needs that. And that is the time that meditation is very essential and help us out. And, to think of him and get closer to him and so forth. In other words, at that time, we need to go and knock at his door. Say, Baba, open the door, open the door. But now he says it is already open. So what better thing we want? Everything is available. Say, Baba.
Yeah,
Hey, Baba. It's like a
Yeah.
free pass, as I think Karthik has used the term free pass. It's like a free pass and a free access. Thank you, Mahu. And
Yeah. Ashokji, as we just barely begun the article, this is one reference that is given for Don Stevens. As you go through, there are other references which are
yeah, yeah.
entirely
yeah,
slightly
yeah,
different.
yeah, yeah.
Just go. Yeah.
Contradictory. So even
Other,
this is,
yeah, not
yeah,
contradictory, but that word I will not use, but a bit different. And
yeah,
I think personally, we go to the gym to build our bodies. Meditation is building the mind, actually focusing it for a purpose, and then it becomes, till it becomes automatic. We need to do it in that sense. That's what I have inferred in overall reading of this part one. Jai Baba, go ahead. Yeah.
yeah. Let me continue.
But Kartik, one point, I haven't understand why you find contradiction is in what we just read. Where is the contradiction?
The
No,
last
no, no.
paragraph
When you read it
starts.
further, you may have
Yeah,
different
no, no, no.
different context.
I'll point
Let
out
Kartik
the,
talks, please. I want to see what.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'll point out my contradiction that I discover in this, right? So if you notice Baba's words himself, he says, "However, do not mistake me." Why? Because he starts by saying that use love and use So the contradiction is uh, the fact that meditation is, he says in one breath, not required at this time. Now, is that 70 years? Is that 100 years? That's I think it's more or less sure that it's 100 years after he drops his body. And the fact that he himself says in the end, it's a distraction and waste of an individual's time and energies to use meditation. Those are strong words coming from him. Okay, it's a very strong phraseology. Distraction and waste of an individual's time. Now, obviously, we have to see it in the context of the time and the condition that he has imposed. So, anyway, let's hold our horses.
Yeah,
I
but
will also hold my horses. Yeah,
Kartik,
yeah.
uh, we got to read his words very carefully. He
Hmm.
says, during my lifetime and for
Yes.
some time afterwards. What does that mean? That means during my lifetime, I'm all there with you, for you,
Yeah. Mm,
available
mm,
by all
mm.
force, right?
So
And
don't worry about
sometime
this.
afterwards, sometime is the time that he's manifesting and he's really available and active. So he says during it is a distraction if we meditate at this time. Why? Because we miss the boat. The boat is already
Mhm.
going. That's how I see it. So I don't really see it a contradiction, but it's good that we discuss it.
No, yeah, I'm glad we discussed it, and I see your point as well. So, in the sense, it's specific and not contradictory. The specificity is the condition of time that he has already approved or defined. Okay, let's continue. No doubt, this is a very strong message. At the same time, I think we need to be careful in not assuming that a single message given by Baba to one individual is universal and meant for everyone. We need to consider whether Baba was directing this message just to Dawn or if it was meant for all his lovers. If it was for all his lovers, one might ask why Baba did not instruct Dawn to spread this message, as Baba had done at other times, such as when he issued his warning about drugs. As far as I know, Baba never issued a circular or message stating that his lovers should not meditate. Furthermore, Baba's comments need to be taken in context. Dawn was asking Baba to prescribe a particular meditation for him to practice. Was Dawn expecting a technique akin to a mantra or something to visualize? As we know, Baba always stressed that his lovers should only focus on him. There was no need for anything else. So perhaps Baba was responding to a form of meditation which Dawn was anticipating. None of this implies that we should take Baba's message to Dawn lightly. I believe that it is important that and we should attempt to understand it fully in the context in which Baba gave it. Now he goes to uh, my first visit to Mehrazad. Looking back in time, I now realize that I had an experience which, in a sense, confirms what Baba told Don Stevens. It happened during my first visit to Mehrazad, and being quite new, I had not yet come to fully appreciate who the Mandali truly were. So, after arriving and being greeted by the Mandali, I immediately went into Mandali Hall and sat down to meditate. I assumed that was what pilgrims did at Mehrazad. Within a short time, I heard people talking and laughing outside. Curious as to what was happening, I stepped out of the hall and saw a bunch of pilgrims sitting around Erich and Mani who were telling stories. At that point in time, January 1972, the Mandali were not talking inside the hall, but rather they would set up folding chairs on the veranda and speak with the pilgrims there. Intrigued by what they were saying, I sat down and immediately found their stories so enchanting, so full of joy and wisdom, so full of love, that I became spellbound. After that day, I never considered meditating in Mandali Hall again. Compared to being with the Mandali, I truly found meditation to be a waste of time. I can only imagine what it must have been like to be in Baba's presence. As Baba told those who were with him at the center in Myrtle Beach in 1958, and he quotes, to be with a perfect master for one moment's time is equal to 100 years of sincere prayer with all one's heart and soul. Meher Baba is quoting Hafiz, Lord Meher online edition, page 4367. Then he goes on to Margaret Krask and Meredith Starr. These are all his personal observations, but I think as Sanjay and Praveen said, this is a good way of relating it to a better understanding for ourselves. Margaret Krask relates a story which humorously illustrates Baba's view on meditation. It took place during Baba's first visit to the West in 1931 at Meredith Starr's retreat in East Chalacombe. Meredith would insist that at certain times everyone should retire to a quiet spot and meditate. Since one of the most powerful meditations is on the personal form of the master, it seemed that just being with Baba met the case better than regular meditation for us. In any in any event, it was quite possible to withdraw one's mind from this vessel of love who had miraculously arrived in our lives, and we were as well quite untrained in the valuable exercise of meditation. Baba did not say anything to Meredith, but with much humor showed this to some of us. One sunny afternoon, the order came from Meredith for everyone to retire and meditate for 1 hour on some subject that he suggested. A few of us who afterwards became close disciples of Baba went to the bedroom we were sharing and settled down to do our best. After a short time, the door opened and in came Baba looking delighted and signing to us not to speak. He tiptoed across the room to the open window and everyone followed happily. Looking out, he saw Quentin Todd in shorts, his back bare, sitting cross-legged on the lawn. His back was to the window and he was doing his best to meditate. A look of mischief came on Baba's face. There was a bowl of lump sugar on a small table, and he took a piece in his fingers and threw it accurately onto Quentin's spine. Quentin quivered with indignation. He was working hard. This was too much. With great control, he did not move or turn to see who was doing such a dastardly thing. A minute or two later, Baba repeated the performance. This time, the spine looked as though it would dislocate itself with annoyance, but again, Quentin remained in the meditation position. He could not, however, stand a third attack. He sprang furiously to his feet and turned, obviously with the full intention of annihilating the culprit. But on seeing Baba and the laughing group in the window, he stared incredulously and then laughed and came to join the meditation on Baba with Baba. And the key statement is, and then came to join the meditation on Baba with Baba. Okay, interesting. Meher Baba's Mandali. Now, this is the third story. While it is true that Baba did not stress meditation and told Dawn that he considered it a waste of time during his avataric advent, it is also true that some of his Mandali did meditate. Adi K. Irani, Baba's secretary, was one. I know this from first-hand experience. Sometime in the early 70s, I walked into Adi's office and to my surprise, I saw him sitting with a sheet completely covering his body. As I entered, he immediately flipped the sheet off his head. I told Adi that I was sorry that I had disturbed him. He said, Sir, I do not believe in a meditation one can be disturbed. He then invited me to sit down and we had a conversation about meditation. One of the things that Adi said to me stuck in my mind. One should not meditate until one experienced a certain feeling. I assumed that to be a feeling of love. The way I understand Adi's two comments is this. First, proper meditation could not be disturbed because meditation should not be separate from life. What one pursues in meditation should also be pursued during normal life. And as meditation is in a sense, and I repeat, and as meditation is in a sense an act surrendering one's thought to the master, one should accept everything that might happen while meditating as his will and therefore could not be disturbed. Second, I understood that the feeling that Adi was referring to was a feeling of love for God and Baba. Meditation should be a means of stilling one's mind so that one's attention can shift towards the heart, allowing one to be receptive to Baba's love. Someone who knew Adi well confirmed that he did meditate each morning. I feel certain that if Baba had instructed Adi to never meditate, that he would not have done so after Baba dropped his body. So here we have an example of one of Baba's very close Mandali meditating each morning. Adi was not the only Mandali who meditated each morning. It appears that Elizabeth also did. After my father passed away, I discovered correspondence between him and Elizabeth. In his letters, my father expressed concern that I was meditating too much. As I mentioned even before my first visit to the Meher Center, I had read Baba's discourses on meditation and had begun to practice it. At that early stage of being with Baba, I was meditating so much that my parents became very worried about me. It was this concern that led my father to write to Elizabeth the following. He had been meditating for hours at a time and it seems to be affecting his mind. Kitty told him that it was unhealthy to meditate more than 15 or 20 minutes at a time. So this is from the letter from Max Blum to Elizabeth in 1971. And Elizabeth replied to my dad, the best meditation for the West, Meher Baba has said to us, is upon wakening in the morning and before sleeping at night, and for not more than 20 minutes at a time. So this Baba has instructed. In a sense, prayer is talking and asking God, while meditation is emptying one's thoughts and listening to God. If one sincerely listens to God, then one knows the answer of each day of our life, and step by step, one comes to know the goal of one's life. That does not say that we get direct answer each time, but we listen to God in meditation. But it sets in motion the signals. So this is the reply that Elizabeth gave to Max Blum 1971. Then he goes on. It's interesting that in Charles Haynes' book, The Day Becomes the Answer, he shares an answer to a question that he had asked Elizabeth, and that her answer to him is very similar to the one she had given my dad. Charles had asked Elizabeth how she knows what Baba wants her to do. She replied, every morning I take a few moments to listen to Baba's guidance. Then he smiled and added, now he doesn't answer in so many words, but when I listen each morning, the day comes the answer. The Day Becomes the Answer by Charles Hines. The fact that, and I continue reading, the fact that Elizabeth's explanation to my dad regarding meditation is almost identical to her answer to Charles' question leaves me believing that Elizabeth meditated each morning. This is not to say that she did some complicated mental gymnastics, but rather that she simply emptied her thoughts to listen to God, to Baba. At various times, Baba would order some of his mandali to meditate. This order would remain in effect for a limited time, typically around 6 months. Mehra related that in 1924, while she and a few other women were living at Khushru quarters, now the trust office, Baba ordered them to meditate. Baba told us, and he quotes, and for a half hour each day, you are to meditate. Take Zoroaster's photo or my photo and concentrate on it. Think of the photo. When your mind wanders, don't worry. The mind is such that it will travel, so just bring it back again and concentrate on the photo. Our mind is always distracted, and in this way, Baba showed us how to concentrate, how to think of the right thing. We were so happy to have our own beautiful orders from Baba. This is by Behra this is from Beloved Archives. Another time when Baba ordered meditation was during the Nashik ashram period. He ordered the Western disciples to rise at 6:30 a.m. and to meditate for an hour. Baba would ask each individual about their morning meditation and encourage them to take it seriously. I want you to be gay, light-hearted, and humorous, but I also want you to be serious about certain points, especially about meditation. Constant prayer and selfless service are both vital in turning the mind away from worldly things and directing it towards spirituality. Baba directed that there must be absolute quiet in the compound. External silence helps the inner silence. He said, and only in internal silence is Baba found, in profound inner silence. Lord Meher, page 1771. Eruch also engaged in an activity that resembled meditation. Later in life, after Baba had dropped his body, Eruch would spend about 20 minutes each morning and evening in Mandali Hall sitting with Baba. He would describe he would describe it as his time to chat with Baba, share his day with Baba, and just be in his company. Eruch would not refer to it as meditation per se, but it does represent some form of an internal relationship with Baba. Then we have the Premashram boys. The most striking example of the power of meditation occurred during the Premashram period. In this phase of his work, not only did Baba not discourage meditation, he encouraged the young boys to wholeheartedly participate in its practice. The results were highly effective. It illustrated that when meditation is done under Baba's supervision, amazing results can occur. The Premashram was comprised of a select number of students that had initially been attending the Maharashram, which combined secular education with spiritual training. The boys who displayed the greatest interest in spirituality were separated from the other boys of the Maharashram and placed in the Premashram, the ashram of love. Prior to that, an incredible outpouring of love for Baba erupted in the Maharashtra. This started after Baba had begun a prolonged fast, isolated himself in the crypt vault, now his samadhi, and began giving discourses to the boys on deep esoteric spiritual themes. These discourses have been recently published in the book Creation and Its Causes. Soon after this, the boys had begun to meditate and a transformation occurred. Many of the boys spent hours of each day weeping and wailing in their love for Baba. As related by Ramju in his classic book Sobs and Throbs, and he quotes, Baba, began to convey to the boys every now and then through stray hints as well as lengthy explanations the importance of love, concentration, and meditation, and thus directly began to inspire the boys to divine aspiration. Page 8 of Sobs and Throbs. Everywhere, the huddled up figures of the boys were found engrossed in meditation or sobbing out the throbs of their little hearts all over the ground and in nooks and corners of the surrounding premises. That even this separation of a few hours from the master's proximity during the school periods was unbearable and painful to these boys was an open secret. This is from page 21. Many of the boys found relief and a kind of pleasure in weeping out their hearts. Meditation and concentration, weeping and crying appealed to them more than eating, sleeping, and playing. They were tears of love. This is also from page 21. A few months later, Baba transferred the ashram from Mehrabad to Toka. It was here that he began to place much more emphasis on meditation. In fact, Baba specified that meditation was to be done several times a day, each meditation session lasting between 1 to 3 hours. He used to give lengthy discourses on love, on God, on the spiritual path for hours together to the Prem Ashram boys, twice, thrice, and even 4 times a day. Besides, he used to instruct them on various methods of meditation and concentration suitable to individual tendencies. This is from page 137. It is important to note though although Baba gave remarkable discourses explaining very esoteric spiritual concepts, the boys were not to think of these concepts while meditating. Rather, they were to focus their meditations entirely upon their love for him. As reported by Baba's disciple Chagan in his diaries, although Baba often gave discourses to the boys, he continued to stipulate that they should not think of these discourses while meditating, but instead concentrate on him. As is well known, so that, by the way, was from The Boys, page 93. As is well known, through their intense meditation and love for Baba, as well as the special attention and love Baba showered on them, several of the boys of the Prem Ashram were elevated to very high states of consciousness. Chota Baba lost complete consciousness of the world for several days, and Baba said that he was raised to sixth plane of consciousness. Aspandiar Vesali also entered the spiritual path during this time and continued for the remainder of his life to do what he described as his inner work of meditating. Regarding the spiritual training in love and meditation which the boys received, Baba said, the training that the boys receive at a young age will become second nature to them. Not all of them can be expected to become Dhruvs or Prahallads, of course, but certainly some of them will take to the spiritual line in the latter part of their life. while the rest will do so after a few lifetimes, if not sooner. All cases, the present training will eventually fructify. And this is from page 334 of Creation and Its Causes. This is another book, Meditation for New Humanity, by Meher Baba. This is, I think, by Nausharwan. There is one other discourse in the Baba literature whose focus is on meditation. It is published in the book Meditation for a New Humanity. This meditation was discovered by Nausharwan in 2009 while researching Baba's work at the Rare Book and Manuscript Library of Columbia University. The discourse was a part of a larger manuscript entitled Fragments of Spiritual Talks by Sri Meher Baba. The manuscript was a collection of discourses that Chandji sent to some early disciples in the US. Other than that, nothing else is known regarding when or where Baba might have originally given this discourse, as it appears nowhere else in the Baba literature. The manuscript is now an ebook and can be purchased from Beloved Archives. It's also available in physical form. Meher Baba presents a total of 11 types of meditation in this discourse. There are 10 meditations grouped in pairs, and one stands by itself. It is interesting that Baba groups meditations in alternating pairs, as it is similar to how he suggests quieting the mind in the discourses. There he explains that by alternating between contrasting meditation, the mind is cut like a saw, going back and forth, and this in turn can lead to making one's mind blank. In the first pairing, Baba states one should at first contemplate that God is infinite, God is everywhere, God is beyond everything. For the second meditation of the pair, Baba says, then they should bring the immeasurable space, commonly known as the sky, to their mind's eye and begin to concentrate on the idea of the impersonal God across this imaginary background of the blank and unlimited sky. We see that in this pairing, the first meditation is comprised of verbal thoughts and Sanjay ji, you sent me. Yeah, I think he has. Let me just read that line again. We see that in this pairing, the first meditation is comprised of verbal thoughts and the second is a visualization. In the second pairing, Baba states that one should think God is true, all else is false. God is living within my own self as the soul of my soul. Then, for the second meditation, after contemplating these thoughts for some time, one must turn one's attention to the heart. Imagine a flame as one's own soul to be there and concentrate as much and as long as possible on this imaginary flaming spot in the heart. In this case, one type of meditation is accomplished through verbal thoughts and the second through the visualization and concentration on a feeling within the heart. The third grouping begins with I am not this body, I am not finite, I am the self, I am eternal. Following some contemplation in this way, one must close the two external eyes and then mentally gaze intently on the center of the forehead from inwards as much and for as long as possible. Again, there is a verbal thinking paired with visualization. The fourth meditation is not comprised of a pairing. Here, only one type of meditation is presented. Baba states the fourth way is at once very simple and a very difficult kind of meditation. All that one must do is to try to keep the mind blank. In this meditation, Baba goes directly to the goal of making the mind blank, but without a contrast between two forms of meditation. Baba states the fifth way is to mentally say and reiterate, God is my beloved. I am his lover. I want union with my beloved Lord. Following this process for a while, one should begin to repeat mentally any one of the names of God. And the sixth way is for one to bring before one's mind's eye the whole face of any prophet, God incarnate, or perfect master of the past or present age, and concentrate on it as for as long as possible. In
Hey,
order to
Baba,
facilitate,
Karthik,
yeah, yeah.
sorry to disturb you. We can't, at least I can't see the screen.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, very sorry
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, 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 no.
to break the
Can
flow.
can anybody confirm?
Now it is, yes, yes. Thanks.
And the sixth, yeah, yeah, no, no. So I'll start with the sixth again. And the sixth way is for one to bring before one's mind's eye, the whole face of any prophet, God incarnate, or perfect master of the past or present age, and concentrate on it for as long as possible. In order to facilitate the bringing of the features of any perfect master to one's mind's eye, his portrait must be gazed at deeply before closing the eyes in meditation. So, in this pairing, there is contrast between meditating with eyes open and with eyes closed. Parvardigar or Master's Prayer. Although the Parvardigar prayer is a prayer, I also experience it as a meditation. That's because if I try to grasp the meaning of each line and not just repeat them mindlessly, I discover that each line is so full of deep and significant meaning that it requires concentration on my part to fully understand each statement. Some examples are the following: You are without beginning and without end. You are unlimited and unfathomable, beyond imagination and conception, eternal and imperishable. You always were, you always are, and you always will be. These are not easy concepts to comprehend. As I recite it, I try to visualize the meaning of each line. It becomes similar to a meditation. Even Erich recounts that when Baba asked him to recite the prayers, that I became so absorbed in the first line, O Parvardigar, the preserver and protector of all, that after that my mind became completely blank. Baba gave much importance to this prayer and the repentance prayer. He said, my participation in the prayers will help every individual saying the prayers after I drop the body. Whosoever recites these prayers will be helped because of my participation now. And when anyone repeats the prayers, I am there with them. My presence is there. That's how it was. That's the book. This is quoted in pages 378 and 382. I just kept reading as it was pretty straightforward. It's just a coverage of all the different accounts of different people and the 11 types of meditation in the book. So even though the Parvardigar prayer is named a prayer and not a meditation, its effect. Did you lose it again, the screen?
We have the screen, but we lost the last line. What you were seeing, reading.
Yeah. Okay, I think this is the problem. Yeah. So even though the Parvardigar prayer is named a prayer and not a meditation, its effect is similar to that of a meditation, and Baba did encourage his lovers to recite it regularly. And I continue. It's visible, right? The screen.
Yes.
Meher Spiritual Center and Sufism reoriented. Perhaps the most compelling evidence that Baba wasn't completely opposed to his lovers meditating is the fact that meditation is a specified activity within the charters of the two major organizations which he established in America, the Meher Spiritual Center and Sufism Reoriented. On the center's website, it states, Meher Spiritual Center is a sacred site established by and dedicated to Meher Baba. It's a spiritual retreat for rest, meditation, and renewal of the spiritual life. This is derived from the center's charter, which states that its purpose is to be a spiritual retreat for rest, meditation, and prayer. In a letter to Baba, in a letter from Baba to Elizabeth, he gave her a free hand in creating the charter. So I don't think that he directly stated those purposes. Nonetheless, he did approve of the charter in another letter, telling Elizabeth that he was pleased with all that she had done. His approval indicates that he was not opposed to the center being a place of meditation. Like the center charter, the Sufi charter also specifies meditation as an activity, but in much stronger terms, almost as order for Sufis. This charter, which Baba co-authored and approved, states, number one, it shall be the duty of every member, and subsection D, to meditate on the Master daily for 15 minutes in any secluded spot. Number two, special duties, and subsection B, those who aspire to the final attainment should renounce everything and occupy themselves in prayer and meditation most of the time. So, here is an example of Baba directly specifying meditation as an activity which Sufis must perform each day. So, the last section, last word. So, is it beneficial for Baba lovers to meditate, or should we refrain from practicing it? What are we to make of Baba's seemingly contradictory views on meditation? On the one hand, Baba told Don Stevens that meditation was a waste of time during his avataric advent, and on the other hand, he established centers in the West whose prescribed activities include meditation. It is also true that some of his mandali meditated and others engaged in activities that closely resembled meditation. The most compelling evidence of the value of meditation is the spiritual power Baba unleashed when he directed the Premashram boys to meditate on him several times a day. Perhaps what is needed is to simply clarify what Baba meant by meditation in each of these various instances. I believe that the following explanation which Baba gave to Vilayat Khan can help. Vilayat Khan was a Sufi. Vilayat Khan, the eldest son of the Sufi master Inayat Khan, had been prompted by his Murshid to visit Baba to meditate on him in his physical presence. Baba responded, really speaking, love and devotion for beloved God are all that are necessary on this path. Meditation is neither devotion nor love, but a mental pursuit in pinning down the object of one's thoughts before one's mind's eye. Baba then said, since you have come all this distance to see me, I want you to do one very simple thing. Spare 5 minutes every night at 12 o'clock and meditate on Baba. Concentrate on my face. So this is from Lord Meher, 1959, page 4491. So here we see Baba differentiating between two different types of meditation. The first type consists of a mental discipline in which one focuses one's thoughts on a selected object. The second type of meditation entails focusing on Baba, presumably with love through one's heart, not one's mind. These distinctions fit very well with Baba's other statements, such as in the Sufi Charter, where he specifies that meditation should solely be on the Master. Likewise, Baba told the young Premashram boys not to think about his explanations of God, which is a mental activity, but rather to just focus their hearts on him while meditating. An Adi statement to me that a certain feeling must arise while meditating, a feeling of love, also confirms the distinctions between these two forms of meditation. In the Discourses, Baba states the various forms of meditation can be divided into three categories: meditation of the intellect, meditation of the heart, and meditation of action. Of these three types, the meditation of the heart is the highest and the most important. That's from page 10, Discourses, 1995. Final paragraph. My guess is that when Baba told Dawn that meditation was a waste of time, he was referring to the first type of meditation, mental control and focusing on one's mind on an object, intellectual meditation. So it's not that Baba doesn't want us to meditate, it's that he doesn't want us to do that type of mental meditation. For those who are inclined towards meditation, it seems that what Meher Baba wants is a meditation of the heart focused on him. As he told Dawn, in bold, he quotes, the high road of all roads of inner development is love. Okay, I think just on the dot of 7:30, but we have another one which we'll take up next time, not a problem. Um, so, any thoughts before we wrap up? What do you make of this
Yeah.
personally, all of you? To me,
Personally, I think it is worthwhile to focus ourselves for a certain minutes of a day, if not hours, uh, being in isolation and without any disturbance. Preferable times are given just after getting up or just before going to sleep. and think about him. If we don't want to use meditation as such, we can, we can call it thinking about him or remembering him, doing the nama japa. That brings us closer to him. That's all I learned from this.
Jay Baba, just to add what Sanjay said, uh, can I just take
Yeah, go ahead.
2 minutes? You see, uh, what Sanjay said is when we get up and when we go to sleep. So Baba has given in in his Meher Baba ke Anmol Vachan. This is a Hindi book. So I'll read. You can translate it later on. So morning and evening prayer to Baba. सुबह नींद से जागने पर प्रियतम मेहर बाबा की प्रार्थना। ओ बाबा, मैं दिन की शुरुआत कर रहा हूँ, कृपया मुझे मार्गदर्शन कीजिए ताकि मैं आपकी इच्छाओं के विरुद्ध कुछ भी न करूं। मेरे साथ रहिए और मुझे शक्ति दीजिए ताकि मैं जो कुछ भी कार्य करूंगा तथा विचार करूंगा वह आपकी इच्छाओं के अनुसार हो। Basically, it means that to align our thoughts, words, and deeds and everything to Baba. And so this can be treated as a form of concentration, or if you want to call it meditation, because you are concentrating on giving all the uh, invoking powers from Baba that your day is good. Then at night before going to sleep, रात्रि में सोने से तुरंत पहले की प्रार्थना।
Hmm.
ओ बाबा, दिन भर मैं जो कुछ भी विचार मैंने किए, जो कुछ भी शब्द मैं बोला था तथा जो कुछ भी कार्य मैंने किए, वह सब आपकी चरणों में अर्पित करता हूँ। कृपया आप इनको स्वीकार कीजिए और अनजाने में मैंने आपकी इच्छा के विरुद्ध कुछ किया हो तो उसे क्षमा कीजिए। Now this is small, but it's I think it takes around maybe 2 minutes in the morning and 2 minutes before you go to sleep. So before you go to sleep, you are basically uh, you know surrendering all that you did, good, bad, or ugly, or any thoughts, words, or deeds, and you're submitting it all to Baba. So, in a way, the the prayer of repentance also comes in this. The universal prayer also comes in a summarized form, and I think it's a practical thing which I I do it whenever I can remember, because one has to remember that as soon as you get up, you do this, and one has to remember that 5 minutes before going to sleep, you will do this. I'm just sharing my 2 cents. Jai Baba.
Jay Baba, very well said. Ashokji, could you share this, the Hindi thing on the
Yes,
group, please?
I will share it. I'll take a snap and put it on the Meher Baba Awakens.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And when you're sharing, always share dollars, don't do cents.
I'll have to become the Dubai ka sheikh which you become.
Wow. इन्होंने मारी sixer.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay, so I think if any other points on meditation
I
before
want
we wrap up, and I'll stop recording at that point.
I want to say, so I started with meditation with Baba, but now my meditation is every time there's up, down, or there's smoothness, I will meditate on his name. I will breathe in Meher, breathe out Baba. And this happens several times a day. So meditation in that sense has become a way of my life.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so that's I don't necessarily sit. I do sit and meditate on him, but even if I'm walking, if I'm doing any other things, um, I'm in that meditative state of reciting Baba's name and submitting every task or things that are bothering me to him, and then it helps. Yeah, Jai Baba.
Yeah.
I have a follow-up question from what Ashokji said. What is the difference between prayer and meditation?
Well, Both.
Prayer is a form of meditation,
Yeah.
basically. Prayer is one another form of meditation. Meditation is just like a generic word like love. There are different types of meditation. So prayer is one form of meditation.
Hmm.
So Ashok's favorite phrase, different strokes for different folks. Basically, one has to understand. See, we have a direct connection with Baba, and Baba will intuitively tell us what kind of meditation works for you at that particular moment. So we have to do this kind of experimentation with ourselves. What kind of meditation works for you? It will be a very dynamic activity. So all kinds of meditation is good. Ultimate meditation, as what Nomita said, is every moment whatever you're doing, you're completely focused and concentrated on whatever you're doing. That is a form of meditation. So Baba, whether you're focusing on Baba, Baba is your own self. So Baba awareness is self-awareness. So it works both ways. Everything you do, you just focus and concentrate and do it well. That is a form of meditation because you are giving everything to Baba, the provisional working ego. Jai Baba.
Jay Baba,
Jai
I just
Baba.
want to add that uh, you know uh, uh, all that has been said is profound. And what Namita said, just to add on that, that in every breath, that is a breath in ba, breath out ba. So ba ba, and this is given to me by Kamakoti. So I mean, it's just that you can make it as natural as every breath coming in and going out. So I mean, subliminally, you need, while of course you have presentations and other things to do in a work day, but if you internalize it, that ba ba, that is every breath in is ba, every breath out is ba. I think that was very practical, free pass, you can say, or you can say a practical suggestion which Kama gave. It's pretty profound, you think about it. That means every breath you are thinking about nothing but Baba, though it is in the background, or you have other things to do, because Baba has also said, do not shirk your responsibilities. In, I think it's in one of these How to Love God.
Ashok, I will add one more thing to make it much more interesting. There's a police song, the group The Police, called Every Breath You Take, Every Move You Make, I've Been Watching You. So you can understand, you can dance to that song, and I've been watching you as Baba, like. So I think it will make it much more interesting. Jai Baba.
So is this book reading a form of meditation also?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, if you do it with full consciousness and concentration.
Sunil, just to add to your question, whatever you do, so say Nomita is cooking or you're cooking or you're driving, when you concentrate on a particular activity with all your full heart, mind, and soul, that is meditation. What I understood in a very simple terms, it's not very, uh, I mean, not very, jnana yoga based or something, but it's just simple in bhakti
No,
yoga
no,
is
but not only focus and concentration, it has to be done with love.
love.
Because
Yes.
concentration can be a very cultivated activity. We have to start with a cultivated activity, and that has to become spontaneous. And to create spontaneity, you have to do it with love. You know,
Oh
so
yes,
that's the very key part. Jai
absolutely.
Baba.
So love becomes the icing or the ingredient on the final thing, because then you do it with your heart and you do it with your soul, and you put full love into it. Yes. And here we are talking about pure divine love, which is
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. I just shared. Thank you, Karthik. Thank
My
you,
two
everybody.
Thank
dollars
you.
worth, not cents.
So anyway, we will finish the second part and also hopefully have Praveen presenting the uh, visualization or the presentation on the whole of meditation. It's been a very learning experience, but overall, I think it's exciting to see the group aligned and excited and interested in this topic. I am more on the side of what Sanjay ji said, which is it's your time with Baba. It's your way of using the mind. For the mind, you need something like going to the gym for the body, and that to me is meditation. But Baba has very clearly said it's not as important. But then, what's your connect with Baba? What's your personal time? And that time, I think, is your way of meditating and your personal choice. Your personal choice, your comfort, and your preference. To use Ashok's phrase,
And
different strokes. Yeah.
Jai Baba, Karthik, could I have a PDF of the book you're reading?
No, it's from the Glow. If you have the Glow, it's straight from there. But I can send you the soft copy. Yeah,
Thank you
it's
very
on
much.
the
Go
it's
ahead.
on the Telegram already.
It's on the Telegram portal. It is there.
Yeah, already.
I have
I
put the
I postcards, not telegrams.
okay. I have put the
I'll send you.
Hindi
Hindi
prayer.
one.
I'll forward you.
Thank
I
you
put
very
put the Hindi prayer on Mayor
On
Baba
WhatsApp.
Awakens Telegram.
Okay.
much.
Thank you so much. Thank
Okay.
you.
Have a good
Have a
day.
good one.
Babaji,
Jai
looking
Baba.
forward.
Jai
Come
Baba,
on.
Jai
Jai
Baba.
Baba.
Jai Baba,
Jai
have
Baba.
a good week
Jai
ahead.
Baba. Jai Baba. Jai Baba.
Whatever is left of the weekend.